but I refer to those actions of disrespect to some as being like microaggressions. You know, those small slights that are just thrown, and but I correlate that to if somebody was to just constantly throw a rock at you, you know, eventually it's going to start to hurt, right? And so, but being human, when we react, then there's the victimization card that comes. But I think there's been a spotlight on that behavior as of late. And I feel like sometimes it's to get a reaction and then to say, look, they're angry. You know, the angry Black woman comes out or whatever. But I think it's important that we identify when microaggressions are taking place. We're in the academy and we're seeing some things are happening. Yes, go to our mentors, go to our support, but it may get to a time where you need to have a strong conversation with administration and say, look, this is what's happening behind the scene. And it's not, you know, you have to be able to stand firm, and we can't we got to be okay with being uncomfortable sometimes, right? Because we have to stand up and what does it say? Not have an issue with questioning authority. And that was another thing I remember first starting out at Howard University School of Social Work. And they were like, you know, you're here to learn to question authority. I was so excited because that's one thing I could do, but that was not on the job description in some of these universities. And nobody told us that. But anyways, with that being said, that became a little bit problematic. But I think it's just so important that some behaviors we put a spotlight on. We say this is happening, and there, you know, of course, training is, I think we need training. I'm all for it, but we need action as well. You know, so we need to be action and solution focused as well. So any other thoughts on that, my people?
I just want to shout out Malcolm X, rest well, my brother. I think it's an amazing quote. It was relevant then and it's still relevant now. I do think we have more momentum now in the field, particularly in social work. But I do think that microaggressions are very real for a lot of people. You'll see it in the literature from different perspectives. And it's really, really sad. I'll just be very blunt. It's just very sad that happens. But I think for me, I'm not really necessarily concerned about training people as much as I am supporting my sisters through the process. Right? How do we heal? How do we show up? How can I support you in that effort versus me trying to train individuals to learn how to deal with me, particularly from a social work perspective. I think about social work values, dignity and worth of a person. Come on. The importance of human relationships. I feel like I'm having a class right now, right? Social justice. I know them. I learned them at Westchester University under Mick Joyner. And so I take them seriously. And so my goal, again, is to help sisters heal. I cannot worry about training people on how to deal with Blacks. I will not. And everyone may have a different perspective, but that's my perspective today. And that's why I'm thankful for this platform, because I'm sure there are others who feel the same.
Absolutely. And this is going to be my shout out for the book, even though I'm not in it. But like when Tiffany, when I read your power, you talk about the microaggressions that you experienced in the academy. And, I was so moved by your vulnerability to share about these experiences. And I think that was what, kind of set the tone a little bit different in your chapter than some of the others, because it wasn't as academic and it wasn't as theory based. But this is why, though, I think it is so necessary that we have to acknowledge these, not to train them how to do it, but to what you talk about, have that support, right? Because we need to, when there's microaggressions and underlying implicit biases, it not only impacts you as African-American women, but it impacts also all of us as women, right? And so together we must identify and provide this much needed support that you talk about and, talked about before. And, in the book you talk about, and I love this idea, and you mentioned it earlier too, of, we need to work in union to create the village, right? You're ending chapters, on this village. And it's necessary that we become allies so that we can support, promote, honor, encourage all of us, all of our sisters. And that, you know, we need to create this village to continue to recognize the past that brought us to this juncture here, but make sure that we don't, you know, that we're not divided, but that we conquer together. And so, you know, having this, being present, acknowledging what has happened, how do we move forward, how do we support each other beyond that, you know, I think is really the important piece of all of these conversations.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Go ahead, Tiffany.
Oh, no, I was going to say we couldn't hear you. You're back.
Oh, okay. I'm back. I think I got a little comfortable. You know what I mean? Okay, so we're going to move to our jewels of wisdom. I will start. And these are just wisdom nuggets that we want our sisters to make sure that we take with us. And one, of course, we've talked about mentorship, right? And the mentorship is just 3 components that I think is very important, that we continue to affirm each other, to push each other forward when we feel like, okay, we're at a stopping point and we can't go any further, and at the same time support each other. And I mean real tangible support. Being present, showing up, giving direction, advocating for, you know, not, we get calls, and even when we come into the academy, it's like, okay, what can I do to help you? Well, as a new junior faculty member, you don't know. You know, you don't know what you need. You know, some are on a tenure clock, so maybe we need to make some connections with some other academicians where they have the same scholarship, you know, interest. Or maybe we need to be there and show up and do a teaching evaluation, you know, as a colleague, because you know how maybe some of those student evals may go. But I mean, tangibly really being there and supporting each other. So that's my jewels of wisdom that I wanted to share.